What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Lucid Daily, and today we have a couple of insane things I wanted to talk about. We're going to break down exactly what happened today, the news, why Lucid rallied 10%, and we'll also be putting together some projections and whether or not Lucid's going to hit some of their goals, so make sure you stay till the end. But let's go ahead and get started. So first off, you have Lucid up 9.75% today and another third of a percent in the after hours. Now, why may this be? We're going to talk about this a lot towards the end of the video, but this is so good for Lucid. And it's actually really good news. It's news that, quite frankly, I wasn't anticipating. And the reflections from hiring new people came quicker than I thought. So overall, Lucid was up 10% today, including after hours. They are now trading for $16.55 a share, which is absolutely amazing. You had Tesla. They obviously outperformed Tesla today. Tesla up 1.58%. And then up 0.07% in the after hours. So Tesla was up today. Overall, the EVs had a great day. Rivian up 3% today. Overall, fantastic day. This may be leading into CPI tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a big day for CPI. If inflation's on the downtrend, if we're going to have a little bit of disinflation, or if inflation peaks tomorrow, quite frankly, we're going to be pretty screwed. So let's all pray tonight that inflation shows up down tomorrow, and we should be good to go from there. All right, so let's take a look at the broader S&P 500 today, up 1.1% today. Not too bad. So we had a relatively green day in the market, but Lucid, man, just outperformed. And there's two pieces of news that happened today with Lucid that we're going to talk about that contributed to this higher price. So let's go ahead and dive into it. And a lot of you guys have been commenting that you don't like it when I read the whole articles. So I went ahead and highlighted it a little bit beforehand. And basically what happened, one of the first things that happened today was Lucid attracted another bull rating from RF Lafferty and Co. Let me go ahead and highlight that name here. I personally don't know this super well. But they gave Lucid a buy rating of $19 per share, which is a 15% price increase from where it is currently. Now, this is really good. The only thing that I have a little bit of an issue with, not an issue, but some things that I don't love about institutional buy ratings is they don't have to give a time frame. It's like, okay, when are they going to hit $19 a share? 2024, 2025, in 6 months? Like, give us a little bit of a time frame. The only reason I think institutions don't do it is because that is exactly what they don't want. They don't want to be wrong. So I didn't read their full report. I just read this little brief article. I probably should have read the full report to see if they did give a time frame. They are predicting a 10x price to sales ratio, which is going to be really interesting. I'm not saying they're wrong. I just wish they would have given us a time frame. That way we have something to keep track to. I will be doing my own sort of price target for Lucid here in the future. So stay tuned for that. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. All right, now let's get into the meat of what happened today and why Lucid was up so much and what I think this means for Lucid's overall numbers and everything like that. So Lucid, an article came out today that Lucid is now reportedly manufacturing 40 to 50 cars a day. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article. The article is done by WCCF Tech, and I know that stands for something, but I can't remember right now. I know one of you guys, but there's two paragraphs that I want to focus on. So basically, if you guys are longtime supporters, you're gonna remember last quarter I said I think this is the bottom for Lucid. I think their quarter earnings reports from here on out are going to be better and better, and I still hold that to be true. And I think that this article is evidence that I was right. Now, I've not been right about a lot of things, but I do really feel like I have been right about saying that the last earnings report was going to be Lucid's worst earnings report yet. And I think this has claim to it. Because I've also been saying that they're about 1 quarter behind Rivian in terms of the production and things like that. Not like production of scale, but like in terms of production news, like bad news, bad news, bad news, good news. And then Lucid's just like Rivian had really good news last quarter. And I think it's Lucid's turn to have good news this coming quarter. And I think we got a little bit of that insight today. So basically, it's saying that I thought this was absolutely fascinating. So let's see. Rivian saw a lot of changes after it replaced the VP of operations with Charlie with a veteran of Frank Klein. I think that's how you pronounce that last name. So that's when they saw a lot of changes in their operations, and that's when they really hit the bottom. So Rivian production was like this. It was like Rivian production was like this. It was like bad news, and then just started to have good news this last quarter. I think Lucid is at this stage right here where this next quarter Q3 report is actually going to be one of their best, is probably going to be their best reports. So I think Lucid's here, and this next quarter is going to be their best, is going to, their last report was their worst yet, so their next is coming out of this dip a little bit. Now, the share price may not reflect that, but we'll start to see production numbers reflect that. It's important to remember that. So, and guess what Lucid just did? They just cleaned house with 6 different executives. So I feel like this is, I don't want to say a good omen, but I feel like it's a good thing that we learned that the same people that get companies up to ramp are not the same companies that get from 0 to 1,000 cars, which is probably it's like a very difficult stage. So let me draw this out, because this is kind of what I'm thinking in my mind, and I think is really important for investors to understand. The same people that get cars from 0 to, I'm just going to draw a notch here, 1,000. These people are not the same people that go from 10,000. I'm just going to do here. We'll do 10K like this. They're not the same people that go from 10K to 100K. And those same people may not be the people that get 100K to 1 million cars. I think Lucid got to this stage. Well, they didn't get to 10,000, but they got to the point where they were starting to scale and they did not have the right people in place. So I think that they cleaned house with everybody that was in here. And now they're focusing on getting from this stage to this stage. And then again, they may have to hire more people to help, because there are people that know how to get companies from 0. There are people that know how to get companies from, like, in the startup world, which I'm very familiar with the startup world. They know how to get companies from 0 to 1 million. And there's people that know how to get companies from 1 million to 10 million. And the same people that get to from 1 million to 10 million don't know how to get the company from 10 million to 1 billion. Those are very different ranges. And I feel like Lucid is making the jump to this range right here, which is actually really good news. Now let's go ahead and break down their numbers and exactly what I think with what is going on here and what this could mean for Lucid, investors, production, earnings reports, everything. This is kind of our first pre-earnings video. So in Q1, they delivered 360 cars, and in Q2, they delivered 697 cars. In Q3 of 2022, I think they're going to produce around 1,200 cars, which is almost a double from where they were. So they almost doubled Q1 to Q2. And if they continue on the same pace, they may have doubled Q2 to Q3. That'd be great news. However, in Q4, I think they're going to more than double. They're going to hit 3,000 deliveries. Now, a lot of you guys know that I'm extremely real. I don't try to push Lucid where I know it can't go. And I'm also I try to be real. I try not to be overly critical. And I know the last few weeks I have been pretty critical because, quite frankly, a lot of poopy things have come out about Lucid. But this is actually good news. And I'll be, like I said, I'm the first to criticize Lucid, but I'm also the first to be a cheerleader. I think Lucid's going to hit 3,000 deliveries. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's so silly. But you have to realize that's a double from the last quarter. If they can hit 3,000 deliveries, I think that's actually really good. Because I think that they were too ambitious in their earlier revisions when they went from, like, I believe it was 40K to 20K and then 20K to 6K. I can't remember the exact steps down, but they've revised twice. Okay, so the article says if they work if they have 20 working days a month. So I'm just kind of putting this math together. I think it was in the article. They said they work about 20 days. Let me look. Let's go look. This is important reference. Oh, I didn't even get to the point of the article. So it was leaked that the current production run rate is expected to increase. So it's now increased to 40 to 50 cars per day, and it's expected to go to 50 to 60 cars a day. And it doesn't sound like it'll be that long in short order. So I don't know if that means it won't be that long or what. But 50, 60 cars a day, maybe in Q4, 40 to 50 cars a day currently. So let's go ahead and break these numbers down. So this article says there's only 20. Where does it say? It says there's only 20 working days. I don't see where that is. Let's see if it's in this article somewhere. I'm not seeing it. I can't see. I don't remember where I got that number, but I believe it's in here where they say they only have 20 working days. Oh yeah. Okay, there it is. I'm blind. Okay, I know I didn't pull that number out of nowhere. 20 working days in a month. Okay, fair enough. Let's say there's 20 working days in a month, and you multiply that by 3 months, which is a quarter. So 60 working days in a quarter. Now, if you're in Q4, they might push a little harder. They might ask people to work overtime, extra shifts. Who knows? Let's say that they have the average of, let's say they've been averaging 40 to 50 cars, and then Q4 they go to 50, 60 cars. So we'll take a 50 as an average. We'll play with a couple numbers here. Let's say they get 50 cars a day. That's 3,000 deliveries. So in Q4, I would not be surprised. In Q3, we'll see. That's why I think we'll have a little bit like a higher jump, almost a double to 1,200 deliveries. But in Q4, if they can work 50 days, 60 working days, 50 cars a day. That's 3,000 deliveries. Now, let's see. Let me back up half a step here. They're saying cars produced. Now, we don't know the difference between cars produced and cars delivered. Like, we do know there's a difference, but we don't know if that's going to be carried over. We know that they usually have almost twice as many produced as they have delivered. So it's going to be interesting to see if they have those logistics figured out. Let's just assume they do, which is very possible they don't. But anyways, let's just keep going. That gives them a total for the year of 5,239 vehicles. Now you're like, the goal is 6,000 to 7,000, so that's still pretty low. Let's assume that they have 60 working days, and we're going to boost this average because the article, let's say 50 to 60 cars a day. Let's say by some miracle they've been sandbagging the numbers, they hit 60 cars a day. That'll bring us to 3,600 cars produced in Q4, because Q3 is almost over. It's like 27, it's like 18 days. Yeah, almost 18 days till Q4 is over, which is kind of crazy to think. Q3 is over, which is kind of crazy about. So if they can produce 60 cars a day in Q4, that's a total of 5,639 vehicles, which gets us really close to this revised goal of 6,000 to 7,000. I would not be surprised if they can push out an extra 400 vehicles. Well, not 4,000. My apologies. If they can push out an extra 400 vehicles, that'd be fantastic. So, let's do a check mark, green check mark. 400 vehicles a day, absolutely phenomenal. If they can hit that 6,000 to 7,000, they can start to regain trust with investors. Institutional investors can be like, okay, like they know how to hit a target now. Good. They're being realistic. Startups are hard. We understand that. We all know how startups work. We're all familiar with the startup world. You've read books. I've read books. We've all known a family member that's done a startup. Startups are very difficult. So maybe this is a signal that Lucid is starting to get out of that startup age. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to produce 6,000 to 7,000 vehicles, and they're going to call out a win. And quite frankly, I do think that is a win. I will be surprised if they say they delivered 6,000 to 7,000 vehicles, and I would be more than happy to be wrong. I still think that's a win if they can produce 6,000 to 7,000 vehicles, because if they can produce, I'm going to do P equals 6,000 to 7,000 versus delivered 6,000 to 7,000. Obviously, we want them to be delivered, but I still think both of these are a win. Obviously, this is a better win than just producing 6,000 to 7,000, but nonetheless, it's still a win. It shows that Lucid's on track. They've improved. If they're able to produce 3,000 in one quarter, they've more than doubled in a quarter. Like if they were able to hit 3,600, like that's really good for them to be able to continue to increase output that much, regardless if they've delivered them. I think deliveries are more logistics than they are factory. I think it's semi trucks. I think it's shipping centers. I think it's more logistical than production. So that's my 2 cents. Overall, extremely good news for Lucid. This is a good day to be a Lucid investor, up 10%. It's not very many days you get a 10% day. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think we're going to be averaging 50 cars a day, 60 cars a day? Do you think they're going to hit that 6,000 to 7,000 produced versus delivered, if that's even important? Let me know what you guys think. I really appreciate your guys' support. And if you haven't yet, check out the link down in the description below to be in my 24/7 Discord, where I try my best to be always present and answer you guys' questions. And you guys will get my personal buy-sell alerts, because I do buy sell other stocks that aren't just Lucid. So if you want to be a part of that, consider joining. And if you guys have any other questions, let me know it down in the comments. But like always, I appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.